Hey, Jalen Clark's offensive emergence these last handful of games. We know about his defense, but what is allowing him to contribute more on offense and average basically 20 points a game this last week?
He just needed practice reps and time. I just keep referring you back to my press conference early or probably our first press conference this year when I told you he was our most improved player by far. All you're seeing is what I saw in practice in the fall. And then the second thing, aside from he's probably missed, 4 breaks, 3 with concussions and 1 2-week COVID break. So it's just hard to get into a rhythm, and he's a young player. I think what people tend to forget is basketball players need time to develop. Young athletes need time. They get better with time. They get better with reps. And that's just a factor with Jalen. I think the other thing that helps him with our team is because we have shooting around him, that his ability to get to the paint, he's almost like a second point guard for us. And that helps us. So because he can finish. So he's bigger than Tiger with his penetration. But he also finds the open man if you bring a second defender to him. But none of it surprises me. Young players, they learn to play with more balance as they get more reps. And they learn to slow down, which is how they get on balance as they get more reps. I think, everybody has to understand that Kevin Love and Lonzo Ball are in the 1 percentile. The rest of these guys are in the 99 percentile. They so it's just, you got to give them some time.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to Rashawn Haylock from KTLA.
Hey, Coach. Good morning.
Hey, Rashawn, how you doing, man?
Doing all right. A couple off topic, if you will. Hey, considering you're always pro player, you always got your guys' back. Wondering your thoughts on these early stages of NIL, how that's gone, and also, next 2 to 5 years, where do you see this kind of going?
Oh, well, the early stages of NIL it's all great. I think everybody out there should hire all the UCLA men's basketball players to promote their products. Please contact them via their social media immediately. And there's a lot of things going on in Westwood. It all happens so fast that there's things that I know are going on from our end to help promote that and grow that. And it's so complicated, Rashawn, as far as what I'm allowed to do, what UCLA is allowed to do. And sometimes you can't even get the answer on that. That's how it was just said, okay, you can do it, but there was no regulation. Then you have to, what can your state do versus the other states? So it really give you all a headache trying to figure that side out. But, I think that there's no doubt, Rashawn, in the next, like you said, in the next 2 to 5 years with the Alston case, that the paying of players has been deemed legal. And I think it's just a matter of if, not, or it's a matter of when, not if, I should say. So change is coming to college athletics. It's coming rapidly, and you better embrace it. And as you said, I'm pro player because I think there's time. Our guys are treated like pros. They get the same scrutiny in the media, definitely on social media. And they're not as old and as grizzled as me to never look at that stuff. They do, and it affects them. There's no doubt about it because they're young people and they have feelings. So, they're just under a tremendous amount of pressure when you're playing high level, whether you're Johnny Juzang or Dorian Thompson-Robinson, you have the same type of pressure as a professional. So I'm all for those guys reaping the same rewards to an extent as professionals.
Sam Cronin, SI, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, how's it going?
What's up, Sam?
Not much. So there's been a lot of discussion this week about handshake lines and stuff like that with what happened over the weekend. It's not something that you guys do. You usually and handshake and talk to the other coach, but can you just kind of give your thoughts on where that stands, whether it's because of COVID or because of what happened over the weekend, what your thoughts are on handshake lines and stuff?
Well, the only reason that I was a proponent of stopping it in the Pac-12 was because COVID, what we were going through with the virus and our shutdown. So with no COVID, again, the handshake line's about sportsmanship. I love Coach Izzo. Like he said, you got to learn how to get your butt kicked and, go shake the other guy's hand. Again, anything you can do to teach young people character, it would be, if you don't want to have a handshake line, it shouldn't be because of what happened last weekend. I mean, that's the last reason that should happen. I think the only time it's a problem is when I think there's much bigger problems like court storming and fan behavior that's reprehensible. I heard it last night, where it was FUJ at Jay Wright. It happened to Tiger and Johnny this year. I mean, some of that stuff's just beyond reprehensible. So I think there's many more topics that need to be discussed as far as behavioral things. But there's no need to cancel handshake lines, Sam. That would be complete overreaction. But I do think there are other topics that need to be addressed. Namely, some fan behavior at times is really, it needs to be addressed, and that's at all levels. And I'm talking about 12-year-old AAU basketball, all the way to the NBA.
And then you guys played those 3 games, 5 days this past weekend. Now you're kind of in a similar situation coming up this weekend, but now you're doing it on the road. Does it maybe prepare you for March or something? Are there any positives you can take out of such a weird scheduling kind of situation here?
No, I would say, the fact that we got to play 3 this late in the year, I've been on the record, that I think it's for money only. So we got to get through it uninjured. That being said, Sam, we take one game at a time. So we're focused on Thursday in Eugene, doing what we got to do there. Then we'll get focused on getting rested and mentally prepared for Saturday, and then, repeat for Monday. And hopefully you can get through it with gas in the tank. Gas in the tank is extremely important at the end of the year. So how we handle practice today, for example, we were off yesterday, and our pregame preparation, everything you can do as a coach you have to get prepared mentally, but you have to make sure your players are recovered physically. You want gas in the tank. The thing I can't control that bothers me most about it is you have to prepare mentally to win the game. So you worry about that burnout part of it for your guys. Constantly have to mentally prepare for game after game after game. And then where that leaves them at the end of this. So when it's over, we'll need to make sure we get refreshed next Tuesday and Wednesday before our big game on senior day on the last Saturday.
Tracy Pearson, Bruin Report, go ahead.
Hey, Coach Cronin.
What's up, Tracy?
Hey, going into Eugene, I know you've probably been watching that game in Pauley. What did the Ducks do so effectively against you in that game?
Their one-on-one ability to score off the dribble really was a problem for us. They made, I think in the overtime, they made like 5 consecutive jump shots off the dribble, none of them off the catch. Not easy to defend those, but it's an area where we've got to tighten up our team defense, our one-on-one defense. And that's multiple guards that can make that play off the bounce, whether it's Richardson, Harmon, Young. Actually, Young obviously had a big one against us. And here lately, Quincy Guerrier had an unbelievable game against Arizona on Saturday. They look so Oregon in a loss looked like a top 10 team at Arizona on Saturday. They played so hard they had guys cramping at the end of the game. I mean, it was a tale of two teams. I know Coach Altman's been fighting hard to get this team in the tournament. And he's a tremendous coach, one of the best in the country. And because he's such a competitor and has so much pride, and obviously this is a monster homestand for Oregon. So I would say, Tracy, the number one thing we need to understand is that we are going to have to want to win Thursday. I know this sounds really simple, but we've got to want to win Thursday as much as they do. You know, if the other team is willing to do more physically, emotionally than you are, you're not going to win. So we have to understand what we're up against on Thursday and in the situation that Oregon's in.
In your post-game comments for the radio after ASU, I didn't hear it, but someone told me you kind of implied that David Singleton would be returning next season. Is that correct?
It looks that way.
Okay.
It looks that way. Obviously, you know, here at UCLA, you got to get admitted to grad school. You know, David's somebody that's that I have extreme belief in. So, you know, that he knows he's more than welcome to do that. And then, you know, here you can't wait until summer. So there's things that got to go on here. As you know, our grad programs are extremely challenging. As hard as it is to get into UCLA, it may be harder to get into grad school.
And someone also said that you might have made a reference to Jaime Marquez coming back, or is that incorrect?
I don't know what they're talking about.
Okay. Okay, good. Thanks.
Okay.
All right, let's go back to
I
Ben.
mean, look, whatever our guy, Johnny and Jaime, the guys that are juniors, you know me, Tracy, I'm going to support whatever they do and their decision, you know, with all of our players in the spring. So, not that obviously I hope Jaime Marquez plays for me until I retire. That would be my answer with that.
Just injury updates, Tiger Campbell and Peyton Watson.
We'll see how they do today in practice. So, you know, I would say they're both day to day with their situation. So they're similar to their head coach in that regard, Ben.
Has Tiger made some kind of improvement in how
We were off yesterday.
Okay.
We'll go through things today, see how that goes.
Got it.
All right, any last questions?
I wish I could tell you. I mean, you don't go from not being able to play on Monday to 100% on Wednesday morning. So we'll see. I know, you know, Tiger's a soldier. You know, I think that's the first game he's missed here for me since with injury. So if he's not out there, it's because he just can't be.